are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I finally got out to a restaurant today and had some fucking lunch. It was good, and it didn't take long for me to realize there will be a third wave coming very shortly. This little lull is not going to last long. Give it a month and they're going to be dropping like flies again. So the capacity for restaurants is at 50% at the moment. So we go to this restaurant, we get upstairs, and the guy tells us it's 50% capacity, wash your hands, all that bullshit. So we go into the restaurant, and this is the most Indian thing I've seen in a while. So what they've done to follow the 50% capacity protocol is they've cut off half the restaurant. They've barricaded it. You can't get into half the restaurant. And what they're doing is they're cramming all the customers into the remaining 50%. So it's almost a completely full restaurant crammed. Every seat is full. People are standing around waiting for a seat. There's like 20 or 30 people in the lobby. Half the restaurant is empty and the other half is bursting at the fucking seams. I'm not too sure that's what they meant by 50%. I don't think they meant run 50% of your restaurant at 100% capacity. It is not hard to work out how it all fucking blew up here. That's day 3 out of lockdown, and that's just one little restaurant. If you just do a little bit of quick math in your head, say that's one little restaurant, times that little restaurant by maybe like 100 million, that's lowballing as well. It's probably like 200 or 300 million. Then you say a few people in the restaurant probably have COVID. Spreads fast. I would say we're back in lockdown with the third wave by July. What's the date today? It's the 23rd of June. We're back in lockdown. I would say I'll call it 23rd of July. But I think it might be a little bit earlier. I don't see this lasting very long. People are going to be dropping. No one was giving a shit about masks or fucking anything. I was looking at something today. What was I fucking looking at? I was looking at fucking gym gloves because my hands getting fucking torn up by the kettlebell. And I was just standing there looking at the gloves. I was very close to the gloves. And 2 guys, one either side, they didn't even know each other. They just come and like stand in front of me to the side of me like we're a group of 3 friends. That's how close they were. Like we've known each other for like 30, 40 years. I've got my mask on my chin. They've got their mask on their chin. And none of us budged. We just all continued looking at gym gloves. And it's not like in Australia where there's barely any cases and you can walk around without a mask fucking comfortably. I'm talking about India. God knows how many people just died over the last 3 months. I'm not even concerned about myself here. I'm on ivermectin. I don't give a fuck. I'm protected. And vindicated because a couple of listeners sent me a link today from the BBC in the UK saying Oxford University is starting trials of ivermectin for prevention of COVID or whatever the fuck they're testing. But I wouldn't trust fucking Oxford either, especially if they don't come up with the answer I want. I'm conducting my own fucking clinical trial looking at some gym gloves. I'm more worried about the other people around. I'm looking at some of these Indian physiques, and I'm telling you right now, there's not an Indian over 40 that doesn't have a gut or is overweight. I mean, the amount of Indians you see in shape that are over 40 is so low, it is statistically insignificant. So I'm looking at these people going, maybe you should be wearing your mask. You just saw 12 of your family members die of this. And it's not like you're a fucking athlete here either. It's not going to last long. It is not going to last long, people. The third wave is coming and it is coming hard. I would say the third wave has already started. It's 3 days out of lockdown, and I would say the grumblings of the third wave have already started. What a nightmare. But I'm going to fucking get out there and eat at some restaurants before we close up again, because that shit was good. It was so fucking tasty. A biryani, chili chicken, fried chicken, a little bit of pepper mutton, a little fucking pepper soup. It was off its head, so I'm going to get out there and start eating before we close up again. Anyway, let's move right along to my most hated day of the week, Boyle Breaks History. What was I doing before Boyle Breaks History? What was it? I can't remember, but I disliked that as well. That's why I started doing Boyle Breaks History, because I thought this was going to be a little bit easier. But now I've run out of topics I care about. I put more time into just thinking of something I'm vaguely interested in than I do with the research of that topic. But anyway, this week's topic for Boyle Breaks History is another one that is just fucking so close to my heart. It's a topic that really does strike at the fiber of my being. It is the history of zero. Yep, the number zero. It wasn't always around. Hasn't been around forever like that fucking number one. Someone had to invent zero. This is what someone said about the number zero. The discovery of zero will always stand out as one of the greatest single achievements of the human race. Are you out of your fucking mind, Tobia Danzig? Whoever the fuck you are? Probably some nerd mathematician. I honestly feel like I could have invented zero. It's not that hard. You already had the concept of nothing. Or did you not have the concept of nothing? Was there no such thing as nothing before zero? Some cunt's like, give me the money you owe me. And you're like, I've got no money. I've got nothing. And they're like, what are you talking about? Everyone has at least one. Well, I don't have my one anymore. I spent it on whores. You don't have one. There's no such thing as not having one. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I've got no one. Well, I'm not too sure what to do here. You're now my slave. That's how it worked. If you had no one, you were just a slave. So anyway, the number zero was invented in... Guess where it was invented? That's right, ancient India. The same place they divided a restaurant into two and put 100% of the people into one half. Those people invented the zero. There was no zero before that. The first zero was discovered in India on a manuscript called the Bakshali manuscript. And they carbon dated this. They took a little bit and burnt it and figured out the date. I'm not too sure what it was written on. It's a dark type of material. It looks a little bit like the back skin of a lower class dullet. But they carbon dated it, and zero was first used in the 3rd century. That's after Jesus. Even Jesus didn't know what the fuck zero was. So yeah, zero has been used since the 3rd century. Yeah, the ancient Egyptians didn't have zero. The Babylonians, no zero. The Greeks, the Romans, no fucking zero. They seem to be doing all right without the zero. Have you seen the Colosseum and that sort of shit? That's what annoyed me about this zero. All these fucking nerds that I was listening to about the history of zero. They're like, zero, it's so amazing. The foundation of civilization. Shut up. They obviously built the pyramids without a fucking zero. Oh, the greatest discovery. Shut up, you fucking mathematic nerd. So the first zeros were actually represented as a dot and not the hollow circle that represents the zero we've come to know and love these days. It was just a dot back in the day. It took them, I don't know, maybe another 900 years to hollow out the dot and expand it a little bit into a zero. I wonder what came first, the Indian forehead dots or the number zero? That's an interesting question, isn't it? What came first, the red dot on the forehead or the number zero? That would be interesting to look into, a little bit of comparative history. I think the head dot was first and the head dot inspired the number zero. It makes sense because no other country in the world has the head dots, and no other country figured out zero, did they? It was just the Indians. That's a little bit of food for thought for you. Anyway, these fucking nerds that I was listening to, they're like raving about the number zero. They're like, without zero, there would be no calculus. Who cares? Algebra. I'm sorry, nerd. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. Financial mathematics. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about there. And there would be no computers. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I know computers are all 0 and 1s, but if there was no 0, couldn't you just put a 2 in there and they'd just be 2 and 1s? Couldn't you put a 6 and 1 in there? Couldn't you replace the 0 with any other number? Don't fucking bullshit me on the computer thing. Anyway, that is the wonderful history of the number 0. And that draws to a conclusion another episode of Boyle Breaks History. That'll be it tonight, and I will see ya the fuck later.